Welcome to part 4. Finally. So with this movie going into extra innings, we cut to Danny Whitwer talking with the head of pre-crime. Danny doesn't buy that Leo Crow killed Anderton's son for a second, and discovers the Minority Report that keeps coming up about the woman being murdered. The woman's name is Anne Lively, and Danny discovers what's really going on here. So here's what happened. We learned earlier in the film that after the precogs see a murder that's stopped, they will continue to see it moments after until those at precrime erase the aftervisions. This is what's known as an afterimage or precog deja vu. Well, it turns out that someone hired someone else to kill Anne Lively, preschool stopped them, and then someone else actually did kill her in exactly the same way. This means that when the precrimes saw the second murder, they assumed it was just the precog deja vu and ignored it. The man, thus, got away with murder. Well, that's all well and good, but based on the logic of how the precog visions work, precrime should have gotten 2 separate reports of 2 people killing Anne Lively. It makes no sense why they wouldn't see the second murder until after the first, but as we've seen, this movie sucks. So it also turns out that the person who actually murdered Anne Lively is the head of precrime himself, who now murders Danny with impunity since the precogs can't see anything right now. You know, I've seen a lot of movies that have the jerk character existing solely to be the jerk, and they don't always resolve in a satisfactory way. But this is the first time I have ever seen a jerk character who literally just disappears. Pointless. Fucking pointless character. So anyway, John and the female precog drive to John's ex-wife's house, who I guess is a character now, why not, and they start talking about things completely unrelated to the film or any kind of a story. Isn't that just like this movie? I'm serious. Listen to how long this inane babbling goes on.
Agatha.
Sean. He's on the beach now, toe in the water. He's asking you to come in with him. He's been racing his mother up and down the sand. There's so much love in this house. He's 10 years old. He's surrounded by animals. He wants to be a vet. You keep a rabbit for him, a bird, and a fox. He's in high school. He likes to run, like his father. He runs the 2-mile and the long relay. He's 23. He's at a university. He makes love to a pretty girl named Claire. He asks her to be his wife. He calls here and tells Laura, who cries. He still runs. Across the university and in the stadium where John watches. Oh God, he's running so fast. Just like his daddy. He sees his daddy. He wants to run to him. But he's only 6 years old. And he can't do it. And the other man is so fast. There was so much love in this house.
What the fuck hell does any of this have to do with anything else in the movie? Sean is not a character. Anderton's wife is not a character. And Anderton isn't a character. He's just a running vessel. You extended this already too long, boring, and pointless movie for this? We don't care about these people! Stop talking about them! So anyway, after dicking around here for a while, John figures out he was set up all along because he saw the female precog's vision of Anne Lively's death. But before he can follow up on that, he's captured by preschool and thrown into their mental torture chamber, and the female precog is thrown back into the milk toilet. Meanwhile, Anderton's wife, who I guess is a character now, chats it up with the head of precrime, and eventually uncovers the fact that he killed Anne Lively. He leaves to attend some benefit for him, and conveniently leaves a tub of Anderton's things on his desk because it would naturally be here instead of at precrime. and she uses John's eyes to get into the torture chamber. She then pulls a gun on the guy who runs the place and threatens to kill him if he doesn't release John. Naturally, it never occurs to this guy that if she was actually going to kill him, preschool would be here stopping her, because everyone in this movie has to be stupid to keep the movie going. So the benefit for the head of pre-crime goes on, but suddenly, the female precog shows the preschool morons the murder of Anne Lively. And I mean the whole thing. The first killer being apprehended, and then the head of pre-crime actually committing the murder. Which makes me and every other logical thinking person in the world wonder why she didn't just do that in the first place. So preschool then sends the images over to the benefit where everyone can see it. It turns out that Anne Lively was the female precog's mother. She gave the baby up because she was a junkie, but later got clean and wanted her daughter back. So the head of pre-crime couldn't just let that happen, as the precogs don't work without all three, so he concocted this way of circumventing the precogs. You know, instead of just giving the daughter back so the precogs don't work, killing her while the system is down, and taking her back again. That would make too much sense. So the head of pre-crime tracks John down and intends to kill him. Why, I don't know, and neither do the writers. The two square off, but at the last minute, the head of pre-crime turns the gun on himself and takes his own life. Preschool gets shut down, all the tortured prisoners are released, John and his wife, who I guess is a character now, have another kid, and the precogs go and live on Little House on the Prairie. Who cares? Yeah, I know, but hey, this actually is the ending. No more need be said on how bad this movie is. That has already been demonstrated. So I want to say a few things about this review itself. First, even when reviewing the worst movie I have ever seen in my life, I will, as always, try to give credit where credit is due. And here it is. Samantha Morton's performance as the female precog was stellar. One of the most convincing performances I have ever seen in my life. Her portrayal of a character who has never seen the world, doesn't know what it means to live in the present, and has barely moved a day in her life, was top-notch. Just like a bad performance, however, this good performance does nothing to make the film better or worse, but I felt I should acknowledge the one bright spot in my experience watching this film. Secondly, I want to address the childish name-calling in this review, as it has been brought up by many of my viewers. It strikes me as odd that I have said fuck you to Rick Berman, Brannon Braga, Ronald D. Moore, and Michael Bay without anyone so much as batting an eye, but I tell Steven Spielberg to go fuck himself and call Roger Ebert an idiot, and this is somehow more wrong than when I did it to the others. So to clarify a few points, the reviews I do are an attempt to express as closely as I can my experience watching these films. If a spontaneous stray thought passes my mind in the theater, such as, whoever wrote or was behind this needs to go fuck himself, I do my best to recreate that as closely as possible so everyone is well aware of how I feel about the film. Calling Steven Spielberg an asshole is simply meant to convey how personal the Minority Report experience affected me. I recently saw Spielberg devote his time and money contributing to the charity for the victims in Haiti. Clearly, he is no asshole. When I say he's an asshole, I mean only in the context of his responsibility for this god-awful film, and even then, the term asshole is used to express a personal feeling of animosity, not a literal attack on the man as a person. This is the way I work, and all of this has been said one way or another before. Please, people, don't make me start putting up disclaimers. Roger Ebert, if you've been listening to this review, and I suspect you haven't, I wish you good health, and I sincerely hope you rethink your review. And Steven, if you're listening, I still want my $8.50 back, you bastard. Again, don't make me put up disclaimers. This concludes my review of Minority Report. It is the worst movie I have ever seen in my life, and it is one of the worst movies ever made. The end.